The Discworld Witches series came to an end with Carpe Jugulum. But it's time for the Witches series to live on, with the Witches the next generation. Hello and welcome to The Book Thing. My name is Mark and this is my review for the first in the Tiffany Aching series, The Wee Free Men. The Wee Free Men is the second children's book that Terry Pratchett wrote set in the Discworld, but unlike The Amazing Morris and His Educated Rodents, The Wee Free Men is the first part in an ongoing series about Tiffany Aching. We're introduced to Tiffany in this book as a 9-year-old girl who is growing up in a new area that we haven't seen on Discworld before, which is called the Chalk, which is these high grasslands where the locals raise sheep. She is from a sheep herding family. Shepherding family, I suppose, is probably the better way of putting that. She is also the granddaughter of Granny Aching, who, although not specifically a witch, was certainly the most respected, wise person around, and the person that was called upon anytime any of the shepherds needed some help with their flock. The first thing we see Tiffany doing is tackling this dangerous fairy creature in the stream, where she just has this angry indignation that this thing is there and realizes that she needs to be the one who sorts it out. So she uses her little brother as bait and hits it with a frying pan. This is the sort of thing that draws the attention of the travelling witch Miss Tick. Miss Tick. It's a pun or play on words. Miss Tick is a travelling teacher, but also kind of a talent scout for witches. She is a witch herself, and she goes around from place to place, and when she spots a girl with potential, she then starts to direct them into the witching life. As well as encountering the river fairy and the witch, Tiffany also encounters a group of pixies, not to be confused with pixies, known as the Nac Mac Feegle, or the Wee Free Men. The Nac Mac Feegle are a group of 6-inch tall, covered in blue tattoos and ginger hair group of almost exclusively male pixies. They speak in a kind of Scots dialect, which is somewhere between Billy Connolly and the writings of Irving Welsh, and they're like nothing better than fighting, stealing and drinking. And when her little brother Wentworth is stolen by the Queen of the Fairies back into Fairyland, the Nac Mac Feegle, former residents of Fairyland, act as her guide in order to try and get him back. By the way, I am rereading the entire Discworld series at the moment, so if you'd like to see any more of these reviews, please consider hitting the like and subscribe buttons. As well as being the first book in the Tiffany Aching series, The Wee Free Men acts as kind of an unofficial sequel to Lords and Ladies as well. We see the same Queen of the Fairies and Fairyland that we saw in Lords and Ladies, and also Lords and Ladies was where we were first introduced to the Nac Mac Feegle. However, I will say that because this is a kid's book, Pratchett does make the dialect that the Nac Mac Feegle speak in this an awful lot more intelligible than it was in Lords and Ladies. As well as kind of going over the old ground of Lords and Ladies, we do kind of go over the old ground a little bit of Equal Rites. I remember commenting back when I reviewed Equal Rites that Esk was kind of a proto-version of Tiffany Aching. And yeah, it is doing that thing where it's exploring the fact that you've got this child who's exploring that they have these powers for the very first time. But actually, on this reread, I kind of think that Tiffany Aching is a little bit more of a 9-year-old Granny Weatherwax than she really was a different version of Esk. She has that same sense of responsibility for the land in which she lives in, but she also has that same sense of self-belief where she is intent that she is the only person who is capable of resolving the problems and saving the land from any danger that it happens to be in. I think when Pratchett wrote Equal Rites, he had an idea of what his Discworld witches were going to be like, but now he knows what his Discworld witches are like, and The Wee Free Men is almost like origin story for a new generation of these witches, and as the series progresses, we get to see Tiffany growing up, becoming more powerful, and growing into that role of the witch. So even though it is a children's story, it is much more closely a Discworld book than perhaps The Amazing Morris and His Educated Rodents were. Amazing Morris is kind of a book that could have happened anywhere. The We Free Men really feels like it slots nicely into the continuity of what's happened on the Discworld before, and it really fits well with the rest of the canon of everything that has happened with the witches. I gave it a 4-star. I really enjoyed it, and you know, if you're an adult fan of the Discworld, don't be put off by the fact that this is aimed at children, because it's still just another good Discworld book. So that was my review for The We Free Men. I hope you enjoyed that. The next book that I will be reviewing is going to be Monstrous Regiment, so I hope you can join me for that one. In the meantime, thank you very much for watching this. I really appreciate you taking the time to do that, and take care.